Boom, boom. Uh-oh, Joe Shelby got a podcast.
Man, I'll tell you what. You wouldn't believe it. I've got another damn fly in the house. Yeah, another goddamn fly. Why do I say another one? Well, because it certainly isn't the same one as yesterday. Nah, it's a new fly. How do I know that? Well, because yesterday I killed a fly. And I didn't simply just end its life. I absolutely obliterated that thing. First, I sprayed him with some salt and vinegar solution I concocted a few days before. Then, I watched him squirm and flutter, growing weaker and weaker by the second. Then, I grabbed a Louisville slugger and pummeled his ass into extinction. Not gonna lie, it kind of brought a smile to my face because I hate flies. And I know what you're thinking. I'm a real sick fuck. And yeah, that may be. I'm not some kind of pixie like Greta Thunberg. In case you didn't know or aren't familiar with the story, I'll tell you. And I'll shoot it to you straight. There once was an old lady who swallowed a fly. No one knew why she swallowed a fly, but experts said, perhaps she'll die. Then, that old lady swallowed a spider, and it wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. No one knew why she swallowed a fly, but experts said, perhaps she'll die. Long story short is, we're all gonna die. But guess what? I refuse to go out like that. And the only thing I hate more than flies is spiders. And I'm not swallowing no goddamn spider. I don't need some creepy, crawling, eight-legged motherfucker wiggling and jiggling and tickling inside me. I've got enough problems, all right? Sorry, I gotta calm down. But seriously, where are these things coming from? I've got the windows closed and locked, and the same with the doors, closed and locked. I've got covers on my drains and caulk in my cracks. So where are they coming from? I don't know. They keep coming in though, and I keep killing them. But they don't stop. They just keep coming in. It's driving me nuts. I don't know what to do. I might buy a gun or something. Seriously, I've just about had it. I'm sorry. I hate flies. I really do. And if you know anything about flies, they say that every time a fly lands, it takes a shit. First off, I think that's completely impossible. Every time? It's never just a shart or a fart. It's always a big, fat, stinky shit. Yeah, right. Then how come I don't crap every time I sit down to pee? And don't get me wrong, I don't always sit down to pee, but sometimes I do. I'm getting older. I'm tired. But just because I'm squatting doesn't mean I'm pooping. I don't come every time I have sex. I mean, I usually do. But sometimes I don't. I'm not a machine, for God's sakes. But also, if you take a look at a fly, it's always just sitting there, just rubbing its hands together. That's kind of like what I do when I'm taking a shit. I'm just sitting there like... So yeah, maybe that is totally accurate. Or is it a wives' tale? And real talk, why do they call it a wives' tale? I mean, if men are such horrible pieces of shit, why don't they call it a husband's tale or a hubby tale or something like that? So really, who is the culprit here? You know what I mean? Anyway, back to flies. You mean to tell me that's really the whole purpose of a fly? To just go around shitting on everything and pissing people off? Seems kind of ridiculous, doesn't it? Or is that basically the same thing we're all doing? We're all just kind of floating around, fluttering about, pretending we're doing something. But really all we're doing is wasting time until we have to take another big fat shit. You know what I mean? I mean, possessions are meaningless. Work is fruitless and existence is futile. Life is really just about seeing how much you can poop. You feel me?
Uh-oh.
So, the other night in downtown Cincinnati, a white man got the living shit kicked out of him by a bunch of black people after a fight broke out. To be completely honest with you, it was pretty tough to watch. During the scuffle, a white lady got involved too, and she ended up getting her lights knocked out as well. At first when I saw the video, I couldn't believe it. I almost felt the same way when I watched the George Floyd video some years ago, just aghast. disbelief and horrified, amongst other things. The kind of thing that makes you jump out of your chair and say, fuck that shit. However, a few days later, I caught a different video on YouTube. This one had included the few moments leading up to the fight. The part where the outnumbered white guy slaps a black fella across the face. Right then, my mind immediately changed. I said, fuck that guy. He deserves it then. Kind of like what I said after more evidence came out about George Floyd. Oh, he's a drug addict, overdosing on pills and paying with counterfeit money. And really quick, I do just want to say, I don't think George Floyd deserved what he got in any way at all. That's not what I'm saying. That was fucked up. It really was. And it still hits me when I see it or even visualize it in my mind. It's kind of like 9/11 to me. It really is. When I see or think about those planes hitting those buildings, those towers crumbling, I sort of fall stagnant, just dumbfounded, in a daze, basically. And the same with George Floyd. But I guess my thing is, we don't really know the whole story, you know? Like with the George Floyd thing, what really happened before he walked into that convenience store? What happened days or weeks prior to that? Who's to say? And if it's just Derek Chauvin's word, we'll never know. Also, isn't it kind of weird that his name is just a couple letters off chauvinism, which means excessive or prejudiced support for one's own cause or group? Anyway, like I was saying, in the video I saw the other day, this white guy slaps this black guy, and I started thinking to myself, well, go get him then. Because that sort of proves the claim of self-defense and intent or whatever, right? I mean, if somebody starts laying hands on you, you have the right to defend yourself, you know? But then, of course, it should have been a one-on-one fight, mano a mano. Anyway, as it stands, I'm now kind of wondering what happened before the slap, you know? I mean, I can't imagine this white guy just slapping a black guy in a crowd of black people for no reason. Not that a black guy would do that either. I don't think anyone would. So something obviously happened before that. Likely a racist comment out of one's mouth, if I had to guess. Probably even both. And I say this because I live in Cincinnati, and I've been downtown plenty of times. And I've got friends on both sides. White friends that say racist things and black friends that do the same. It's mostly just jokes, but all jokes come from somewhere, you know? The thing is, it shouldn't have happened. At least not like that. Just like the George Floyd thing. It shouldn't have happened. Especially not like that. I mean, maybe he deserved to be arrested. I really don't know. But regardless of that, he certainly didn't deserve to be absolutely tortured and, well, you know the rest. Honestly, I'm truly surprised that no one got shot or lost her life the other night. And I'm also not surprised that the media is using this as an opportunity to capitalize on your concerns. All they want to do is push your buttons, so you keep clicking on theirs. Or there could be a deeper motive. This could be the beginning of another psyop, a psychological operation. Kind of like how after 9/11 happened, we immediately went to war. And after the George Floyd thing happened, we all hit the streets. Maybe this is just the precursor to the next big thing. Who knows? Maybe I'll be the next George Floyd and they'll call me a prophet. Well, if that's the case, you don't need to march for me. Because then my point will be proven and our emotions will be emancipated. I mean, hopefully it's not me. Hopefully there is no the next George Floyd. But at this point, it wouldn't surprise me either way. After all, I believe it was the wise Winston Churchill who once said, "Never let a good tragedy go to waste." And if you think about it, how come every time a tragedy occurs, some much bigger course of action takes place? Maybe that's just cause and effect. Or maybe that's a psychological operation running its course. I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out yet. But the city council president, Victoria Parks, wrote on Facebook, "They begged for that beatdown. I'm grateful for the whole story." Well, guess what? She's probably getting fired. She should be, at least. Honestly, that in itself seems like a psyop to me. Are we really to believe that one of our elected officials would be stupid enough to write that on the internet? To risk their job and livelihood like that? That's neurodivergent behavior, if you ask me. I don't know if I believe it. All I'm trying to say is something is up, folks. Something is definitely up. So don't fall for any bullshit, all right? And don't forget, hate begets hate. Even if you're just typing shit on the internet, there's always a recourse. Be good.
Uh-oh.
Maps were invented a long time ago. And they were invented to measure a place strategically. Get it? M-A-P-S. Maps. I just made that up, actually. I don't know what MAPS actually stands for or how we landed on that name. But that sounds pretty fucking good if you ask me. And since you can't ask me, I'll tell you. Yeah, that's damn good. And you got it, genius. Now we're talking about maps. More specifically, America. Before we get into that, let's quickly go over the cardinal directions. North, south, east, west. Boom. Now that that's over, let's get into it. How come we got the East Coast, the West Coast, the South, the Midwest, and then Florida? But there is no North. There is no Mideast. There is no Central. It's just fucking nonsense if you ask me, and quite frankly, I'm sick of it. America is a chode, and there is no doubt about that. It's fatter than it is tall. Approximately 2,800 miles across and about 1,650 top to bottom. But there's the problem right there, top to bottom. You can't have a South without a North. Just like you can't have an East without a West. I heard someone on TV the other day claim that Minnesota was part of the Midwest. And I said, are you fucking kidding me? That's the top. The northernmost part of the country. And yeah, I know, Alaska's part of the country too. But Alaska doesn't count. It's an addendum. It's just up there, doing its own thing. It doesn't even make sense that it's part of our country. Mostly because there's an entire other country in between it and us. A massive country at that. Canada is actually slightly larger than America, believe it or not. It's not like Croatia or something, where there's a tiny sliver of Bosnia between the majority of it and Dubrovnik. Anyway, how come there is no Mideast? Shouldn't Ohio, which is where I live, be considered Mideast? Why not? It's 2 fucking states away from the ocean. West Virginia, Virginia, then boom, the Atlantic Ocean. Xavier University, which is one of the colleges here in town, is part of the Big East Conference. But Ohio is still considered Midwest to everyone else. Midwest? It's about 2,000 miles away from the Pacific Ocean. How does that make any goddamn sense? And you're probably thinking, Joe, why are you so mad about this, bro? Well, because I'm sick and tired of trying to figure everything out. I'm sick of being stupid, sick of being lied to. I'm fucking sick of it. Kansas is not part of the Midwest. That's the center of America. Or at least as close as there is to the center of America. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. That's like the line down the middle. Anything east of that is, well, east of that. And anything west of that, of course, is west of that. So how about we stop fucking around and stop calling everything the Midwest? How come the Midwest spans like 3 time zones, but none of the other ones do? Does that make any sense at all? Does any of this make any sense? Seriously, does anything actually make any sense anymore? Anything? Don't worry, I'll answer that. No, it doesn't. I think I'm going to run for president. Because honestly, none of these other men can do the fucking job right. This whole map thing is obviously at the top of the list. How come for the past 100 years or so, we've been fighting wars in other countries, but we don't even have our map situation figured out? Bro, that's step 1. Also, what's up with Guam? I mean, I'm not saying let's get rid of it, but like, no country that small should also sound edible. You know what I mean? It's like Pac-Man or something, like Guam, 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 Guam. I don't know. I think we should rename it like Larry or something. Because Larry sounds like a guy you don't want to fuck with, you know? And if we are going to keep calling it Guam, can we at least stop calling it citizens Guamanians and maybe start calling them Guamaniacs? I mean, that sounds pretty cool if you ask me. Anyway, guys, I'm not saying I got it all figured out, but also, yes, I am. Joe Shelby, 2028. Let's go, baby.